The longest lockdown. It started like any other lockdown drill, at least that's what everyone thought. The announcement crackled through the speakers, Principal Hargrove's voice a little too calm, a little too rehearsed. Attention, students and staff. We are initiating a lockdown procedure. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill. Mrs. Caldwell, our English teacher, moved with mechanical precision as if she'd done this 100 times before because she had. The door locked. The lights went out. We got down. Hushed whispers, stifled giggles. A few of us rolled our eyes. Another drill. Another waste of class time. But something felt off. Maybe it was the way Mrs. Caldwell's fingers trembled as she slid the lock into place. Maybe it was how the intercom cut out mid-sentence, leaving only a burst of static before silence swallowed the room. Minutes passed. Then an hour. Then 2. Mrs. Caldwell, Emily Whitaker whispered, her voice small. When do we come out? Mrs. Caldwell's face was pale in the dark. She glanced at the door as if expecting something to knock. Not yet, she murmured. The intercom remained silent. The hallways, which should have been filled with hurried footsteps or distant voices, were empty. We sat there, pressed against the cabinets and bookshelves, knees tucked to our chests, stomachs grumbling. No word from the office. No sound from outside. Then the sun went down, and the school remained locked. The first night was the worst. No one spoke of it out loud, but we were all thinking the same thing. Why weren't the police here? Why wasn't there an announcement? Our cell phones had no signal, the emergency alert system was dead, and the Wi-Fi was nothing but a loading screen. Jacob Collins, always the troublemaker, tried the window. It won't open, he grumbled, pushing against it with his shoulder. It's like it's stuck. I walked over, pressing my face against the glass. My breath fogged up the surface, and that's when I noticed it. The streetlights weren't on. The houses across from the school dark. Not a single car passed by. No headlights, no sirens. No sound at all. Just stillness. What the hell is happening? Jacob whispered. No one answered, because none of us knew. By the third day, the hunger set in. Mrs. Caldwell rationed what little food we had. Some granola bars, a few bottles of water from her desk drawer. It wasn't enough. The vending machines in the hallway were locked behind a glass cage. The cafeteria too far to risk sneaking out. Somewhere around noon, we heard it. A scratching sound came from the vents high up on the ceiling. Slow, methodical, like something was dragging its nails along the metal. Rats? Mrs. Caldwell muttered. But it didn't sound like rats. The fourth day, someone tried the door. We all froze as the handle jiggled. Slow at first, then more frantic. A fist pounded against the wood. Let me in. The voice was hoarse, desperate. Please, oh God, please. Mrs. Caldwell's hand clamped over my mouth before I could speak. The knocking grew more violent. Then silence. When I dared look, there was a single bloody handprint smeared across the glass window in the door, but no sign of whoever had been out there. By the sixth day, the food was gone. The water ran dry. The school felt different, the air heavier, the walls thinner, like they were pressing inward, closer and closer. We have to leave, Jacob said. We can't just sit here and... Leave to where? I snapped. You saw outside. There's nothing there. No cars. No people. It's like the whole world just vanished. He didn't argue, because he knew I was right. On the 8th day, Emily started talking to someone who wasn't there. We found her in the corner, whispering, eyes wide. Emily? Mrs. Caldwell knelt beside her. Who are you talking to? Sweetheart? Emily lifted her gaze. Her pupils so dilated they swallowed the blue of her irises. The principal, she said. He's outside. Mrs. Caldwell's face went white. Emily smiled. He wants to come in. The 10th day, the knocking returned. More hands this time. More voices. Let us in. It's cold out here. I saw my mom. She was just outside, I swear. We didn't move. We didn't speak. Because by then, we all knew the truth. There was no one left to save us. The school was never locked down to keep something out. It was locked down to keep us in. And whatever waited outside the doors wasn't human anymore. On the 12th day, we stopped fighting it. The hunger, the whispers, the way the darkness felt alive. We knew the door would open soon. We knew because we weren't afraid anymore. We were ready. And we were so hungry.